there's been a lot of red flags surrounding the production process of Avengers Doomsday, not only because a lot of the movies that Marvel's been putting out this year haven't been doing well at the box office, even the ones that were well received, but just the simple things like they had to delay the release of the movie several months. I think they're probably still going to delay it yet again, or that they've been shooting for several months and don't have a completed script. And I think this is the big news right here, because that's kind of where we're getting this rumor today, talking about how because of the script issues for the movie, Robert Downey Jr. is threatening to quit the production of Avengers Doomsday. But before we get into all that, if you're new to the channel here, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And if you can, leave a comment and hit the like button too, because it helps out with the channel. So this article from Cosmic Book News, Robert Downey Jr. threatening to quit Avengers as Deadpool rumors heat up. Now, I just want to make sure I emphasize this. These are just rumors. We don't know what's going on with the actual production of this movie. But a lot of the stuff being reported kind of coincides with other things that we do know, not only about this movie, but just other previous Marvel productions. So I think there might be some validity to it. Now, the outcomes that they're coming to might be a little bit of a stretch, but I still think it's important to take a look at these. So here's what it says. It's claimed that things are going so poorly with Avengers Doomsday that not only have the Thunderbolts actors allegedly clashed on set, but Robert Downey Jr. has even threatened to quit if the script isn't fixed. And I think a lot of this just has to deal with the fact that Marvel has a bad habit, especially these last several years, of going into production without a completed script. As I already showed, that's something that we knew was a case when it comes to this movie. They go through get into production of the movie without a completed script, and then they're kind of rewriting and changing things up as they go, which is a big reason why a lot of their movies cost so much to complete, because they're having to reshoot things and scrap expensive sequences that they've already shot. And apparently Robert Downey Jr. is getting fed up with this, and that's why he's threatening to quit, or at least according to the rumors, he's threatening to quit the production of it. The report comes as new rumors circulate that the script has been scrapped and it's now being rewritten by the Deadpool team. Following the claims about the Thunderbolts actors, YouTuber Doomcock continues to report on alleged troubles with Avengers Doomsday, saying the movie script has been tossed out entirely, according to him. According to our sources, a draft of the latest script of Doomsday is so bad that the writers are being forced to leave and new writers are coming. Now, again, these are just rumors, and I don't think necessarily that they're going to throw out everything entirely. I think if they're going to do anything, they'll probably try to rewrite what hasn't been shot yet. But what's been shot previously, they might figure out like how they can rework it into their new script. They might cut out some of the stuff in that one, because like I said, they will shoot sequences and then scrap it entirely if the script changes up. So they might do that, but I think it's a bit of a stretch to say that they're going to actually throw out everything, especially since some of the previous announced cast for this movie have reported that they've actually shot all their stuff for this movie. So unless they want to bring them back, their parts are getting axed entirely, which I can see either one being the case when it comes to this. But still, I don't think they're going to necessarily start from fresh for the script, especially since they're supposed to be released a year from December. It just seems like it's a little bit too much for me to swallow. With they're not going to go into production for a few months and then just scrap everything entirely. At least I don't think they would. Doomcock points to Robert Downey Jr. as the key figure behind the shakeup. Allegedly, Robert Downey Jr. himself is making this call. He has threatened to walk away from this movie if Disney doesn't redo this. Now, I know Robert Downey Jr. does have a lot of sway. He's not, as far as I know, officially a creative. I don't think he's a producer on it or anything like that. He's just the big star of this movie, and reportedly is getting paid tens of millions of dollars for appearing in this movie, because they wanted to bring him back, because they figured like, well, the MCU has been in a bit of a slump since Endgame, so maybe bring the star of the MCU back for the last couple movies, and maybe that'll be enough to kind of drive people to audiences. And I think that would work to a certain extent. It's because of that he has this kind of pull. And while some people might think like, why would he walk away from the movie if they're paying him a ton to be in it? When negotiating contracts, which I'm sure he did, he pretty much got to make any demands that he wanted with the studio. And since they were so desperate to bring him back, they probably gave him whatever he wanted. Now, we don't know the terms of his deal exactly, but it's been reported that it was, I don't know, close to the $100 million mark for the next two movies, and as well as a bunch of other perks, like private security, private planes, better accommodations on set and other things like that. And I'm sure there was probably some stipulations in there as well, where he gets paid so many tens of millions of dollars, regardless of whether the movie gets made or whether he actually is in the final product of the movie, which is not necessarily the most unusual thing when it comes to Hollywood. So I can see him walking away and still making more money on this movie than what a lot of the actors have made in other more recent MCU movies, even if he doesn't actually appear in it. So I can see Robert Downey Jr. saying like, okay, I don't need this. I can just take whatever tens of millions of dollars I'm getting guaranteed and then just leaving the project. Now, obviously that looks bad for him as an actor, and Disney might be reluctant to work with him in the future. But I mean, at that point, does he really care? I mean, he can pretty much name his price with other studios. He's a high profile enough to do that. So I don't think it's really going to hurt his career one way or the other. Why was the script rejected? The YouTuber adds that the script of Avengers Doomsday focused heavily on the female MCU characters, which we know has been a big post-Endgame bust for Kevin Feige. According to these sources, in the script that they rejected, the movie was going to be heavily female, including female characters for every Marvel character in the movie. And that just kind of coincides with what we know with Kevin Feige, and that was his stated goal for the MCU post Endgame. Is he wanted to I mean, I think he even literally said this verbatim, is he wanted to have at least one female character for every male character. I don't know if Doomcock is necessarily just echoing that or if this is what his sources are saying. I mean, still, I mean, emphasize these are just all rumors, but it does kind of match up with what we previously know coming out of Kevin Feige's mouth and also coming out of the MCU. Doomcock added that he has recently contacted by insiders who offered that the Deadpool writers are being called in to fix the script. There is no script yet. The script that was being written has been scrapped, and the rumor is Disney is working to get the writers of Deadpool to write the new script. If this rumor is legit, it implies that Ryan Reynolds and Deadpool will be a big part of Avengers Doomsday, and I could see that being the case, announcing that they're bringing Deadpool into it, because at least from the announcement that we got for this movie about all the people that are going to be in it, that's kind of the vibe I'm getting, is that they're trying to replicate the success of Deadpool, and maybe the people at the studio are thinking like, well, people liked a lot of those cameos, so if we just have a crazy script with a bunch of different cameos and stuff in it, then that'll be enough to make it work. They started production of it and they're like, well, this isn't quite what we're going for. Bring in the Deadpool writers to try to make it more like what we saw with that, and maybe we can achieve some of the same success, because that's what they'll need to achieve, and actually they'll need to do better than what that was in order to make a profit, according to some of the rumors. Now, could they actually move forward with this without Robert Downey Jr.? I think there's a possibility that they could do this to a certain extent, because obviously people are going to go into this movie wanting to see Robert Downey Jr., and maybe they've shot some stuff with him where they can work it into like a kind of a cameo appearance, and they can basically argue it's like, yep, see, he was in the movie. We never really said the extent of his involvement, and there were past rumors also that Robert Downey Jr. isn't necessarily going to be playing Doctor Doom. It was just kind of a decoy. He was going to come back as Iron Man in some way, and that Doctor Doom was going to be played by Viggo Mortensen instead. But they had to find some justification for why Robert Downey Jr. will be showing up at the locations we're going to be filming this movie. So they just said like, oh yeah, he's Doctor Doom, don't look too closely into anything else. But he was just going to play Tony Stark again. Now they've shot with him a little bit, so they could probably use that as justification for saying that he's in the movie if he decides to walk away from the project as is. And then they can just kind of go to the original plan of having Viggo Mortensen play Doctor Doom. We don't know what's going to happen with this. Like any rumors, the more believable ones are the ones that have some semblance of truth to it, and some things that kind of coincide with what we know. And I think this rumor does kind of match that, but I think the idea that Robert Downey Jr. will leave the project and won't be in the movie entirely, I think is a little bit of a stretch. But let me know what you think about this in the comment section below. And also, do you think that this movie is going to be nearly as successful as what they need it to be, which is probably around the $2 billion mark of Avengers Infinity War? I personally have my doubts, but I'm curious what other people have to say about this. And also, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And if you can, leave a comment and share the video out there too, because it really helps out with the channel. Thank you.